He's known as Lee Harbs or Lawrence of Arabia. But we'll go with Harbs. I think we'll ditch the Lawrence.
I think so.
um, as this is my mate Harbs. He's best mate and best man with somebody who has been referenced on the podcast before. That's Lee Enright, or Lee Money Enright, as we call him up here. So yeah, nice to meet you, mate. Nice to see you again, sorry. How are you?
Yeah, yeah. Very good, mate. Very good. It's good to see you too.
So I think it's always good to start at the start of people's golfing journey, I think. So tell us about, your golfing journey, how you got into the game, what you like about it, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. So my golfing journey. So I was first introduced to golf by my dad. So his sport was always darts, but I wasn't really massively interested in that. I was always into my football. And then one weekend when I didn't have a game, he said, "I'm going to play some golf with some mates. Do you want to come along?" To watch caddy, if you like. I didn't have a clue about what he was talking about, to be quite honest. So went along with him. He's kind of hacking his way around the course, and I just thought, how much fun does this look? So then I became one of those kind of got myself a second-hand set of clubs, and then probably once a year for maybe a decade, rocking up with my friends, play round of golf once a year, letting the football kind of do its thing. And then when I hit my late 20s, I think football started to come to a abrupt halt, if you like. And then that's when I contacted one of my mates that I knew played a lot of golf, called Watto, and he introduced me to his friends at a society. And then I went from playing once a year to every month, and that's when I really enjoyed playing golf. That was fantastic. I mean, I was absolutely terrible, but I think as a terrible golfer, it just takes that one sweet connection and you're hooked. Just
Oh,
pinging that ball dead straight, and you think, "That's it. This is for me."
never a truer
That's
word said.
that's it, and that's how it all started, really. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny that initial outing with my dad's probably the reason that stands out is because we've got a daft little story which makes me chuckle now. But we're halfway round. He's in a bunker. I'm dragging this bag around for him, and he's like, "Go back and get my sandwich from the bag." And I've run back over to his bag and I'm rummaging through it. I'm like, "There isn't a sandwich in here." I've gone back over to him. Bad news. You forgot your sandwich. And he's like, "Sandwich, idiot." And I was like, "Whoops." So yeah, I was like, okay, I need to understand what these
Yeah,
clubs actually mean at that point. But
steep
yeah,
learning curve there.
that's it. It's my earliest memory of golf. It's quite sad, really, looking for a bloody cheese sandwich or something in a bag. But
Oh no,
yeah,
mate. I think that would resonate with a lot of people. I think with um, playing with your dad. I mean, that's always is you probably don't appreciate it at the time, do you? But like now, as time goes by, you really appreciate those moments, don't you?
that's it, mate. Yeah, yeah. I think in our lifetime, probably played like 2 rounds with my dad. I don't see a lot of him. He's in Cambridge. I'm over in Somerset now, so yeah, that sort of thing doesn't happen anymore. But I think he's always been into his darts, really focused on that side of things. So we never really had the opportunity. It was very rare outings for him.
Now, I love how
Um,
you say darts wasn't my thing, and then over your left shoulder is a fully set up dartboard, LED lights, the lot. But it's not your game. It's fine, mate.
it's not. I know how to play it. It's if I could fit a pool table in here, I'd have one as well.
Oh yes. Now we're talking man cave stuff.
That's
Um,
right.
I was having a chat with a friend of mine that I play reasonably regularly with, another Chris K, and he was he messaged me today just going, "We're supposed to be playing sim golf tomorrow, but my son's not feeling well, so we can't. Feeding well, so we can't go." But I sort of messaged him saying, "Oh no, sorry mate, can't make it." And he went, "All right, well I'll do an hour anyway." And he was like, sent me this picture of an inflatable um, golf sim set up for your garden, and he just said, "My life ambition at the minute is figuring out how I can get a golf sim at home." So we kind of like, I went, "Mate, that'd be amazing. That's the dream, isn't it? You see it on Instagram, don't you? Everyone's got these in America. It's always America because they've got the space, but like this big simulator setup. You got a bar on the side and darts and pool and all that kind of stuff." So he said, "Have been really seriously thinking about this." I was like, "Oh no, that's okay, fine, yeah, go on." And like Chris is great. When he gets an idea in his head, he's like, it goes to the nth degree sort of thing. And he goes, I've worked out though the only way that I can make this happen is if my family move out. I was like, all right, okay. When are you going to tell me the downside to this story? Well, at what point? I was like, if you get your family to move out and there's a golf sim I can play golf at, I'm all over that.
Yeah, you'll have a new member of the family.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't need your family. You just need golf friends. That's all you need. Yeah, I
That's
love
it.
it. And you're dead right. One sweet connection. That's all it takes.
Yeah, yeah. And to be fair, to follow on from that, mate, I've got a double garage, and I put a segregation wall up in the middle, and I turned the left side into a gym. So when we first bought the house, I was massively into working out. So I built my own gym in there. And then when we moved over to Dubai, rented the house out, the new tenant said, I don't want a gym, which I couldn't believe. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I'm just
I'm leaving
joking.
you with like all the like state of the art CrossFit gym
Yeah.
equipment,
No, no,
frame,
mate.
everything. And he was like, no, I don't want it. Take it with you. So I had to take it all down and rip it out. So it's all back in there now because we've come back, obviously. And I'm in two minds whether to put that gym back up or actually get somebody in to properly turn my garage into a golf simulator. The
Uh,
downside being the wife keeps telling me that that garage area is going to be reserved for when our son turns 18 and he's going to have his own annex. We're going to
I mean,
convert the garage into an annex
he's
for him.
gonna
And
want
I'm
to
like,
play golf though, right? So,
yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, well, surely he's going to want a golf simulator in there. So
I mean, he'd be like the most popular kid ever. I was
I
like,
think so.
do you want him to have friends or not? You know, that's hilarious. That.
Yeah. Do you want him just to have friends or do you want him to be best mates with everybody?
Yeah, are we talking like legend status? Or are we just talking like one of the lads? You know, that's it. You know,
Yeah.
that's exactly what.
Yeah. As
Uh,
long as I can still get access to it, he can do what he wants.
Happy days. Yeah, you got to lay the groundwork early. I mean,
That's it.
obviously you mentioned that you'd moved out to Dubai. So, I mean, I sort of nerd out a little bit on golfing culture in other countries, and it started for me with probably about 5 or 6 years ago with American golf culture. So I find that quite different to ours um, in terms of we, British golfing culture is the game is the thing that you're there for. You know, you'll very people will very happily turn up 10 minutes before their tea time, one quick warm up swing, out, done, straight in the car and home. Like the golf is the feature. That's where you do all your socializing, all that kind of thing. The Americans a little bit different. It's the full day out. It's the beers as you're going round. It's the you know getting plastered really while you're playing golf. And I can't think of anything worse because my golf dips, and then I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
Um, so that started it off, and then I really started getting into like Japanese golf culture, which is so formal and like everything's amazing, like pristine.
Yeah.
So
Is
just
that where you
really,
have like you have to book like 8 hours of your day out so
yeah,
you can have
mate.
some lunch halfway
Yeah,
around?
yeah. Half. It's not a halfway hut. It's a halfway restaurant, and they'll do
Yeah.
full on food. Like the clubs are cleaned in between. Oh, like, wow, it's amazing. It's a far cry from the little shoe cleaner that I've got to use to clean all the bits off the crap off my
Yeah.
clubs. But
Yeah.
so what,
I think British golf holds on to its traditions very
of course it
hard. Like
does.
I don't think it's going to change.
No, we play golf. That's what we do.
You're here to play golf. You
Yeah,
can stop for a beer afterwards if you like, and maybe grab a sausage roll if there is a halfway house. But
that's it.
it's your lot.
That's all you're getting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think we've spoken about it before, haven't we? But there should definitely be a halfway hut at every single half decent golf course. You can't call yourself a good
absolutely.
golf course if you haven't got one. So
Yeah,
campaigning at mine for them to install one somewhere, but all the scallies in Stockport will nick all the supplies. Unfortunately, that's the problem. But what's the golfing culture like over in the well,
it's massive, mate. Yeah,
okay,
in the UAE in general. So I'm talking Dubai, Abu Dhabi. I played a lot of golf over there while I was there. The culture is huge, expat focused. So we're talking English, European, Asian. Anyone that's moved there to start a life or a temporary lifestyle and stuff like that. It's just that the golf is tailored to those
right,
nationalities that they know love golf.
right,
And obviously, I don't know if most people realize now that the majority of Dubai and the UAE isn't dry anymore. So you've got Saudi where you can't, or you're not supposed to drink, and you've got other areas of near Dubai that are still dry areas. But in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, it's not uncommon to rock up for a 9 a.m. tea time, have a pint, bit of food, natter with your mates, hit the
Wow,
driving range, and then wherever you are on the course in your cart, you can just press a button and a beer cart will come over to you. So
amazing.
it's very much like the American style
Yeah,
that we see. I mean, I follow a lot of YouTube channels, the American ones, and it's very similar to those where you can you're in a cart all the way around. There's a couple of courses in Dubai where there's several halfway houses, so like holes 5 and then holes 12. You
amazing.
might find somewhere that you can stop, or they kind of cross over as you're kind of going to the next hole. So you might swing past the halfway house twice if you like when you're going round. But yeah, pretty much most of the courses anywhere. The carts are modern. You can press a button, call somebody over to you, buy a beer when you're on hole 3 if you want, get some food, get a soft drink.
It's
It's very
amazing, isn't
geared
it?
up to expats.
Right. And
Um,
what's the uptake with locals like? Is that just is it an inaccessible sport for them, or is it growing, or what?
no, I mean, if I'm honest, I don't know the answer to that. I
Yeah,
played with just a handful of locals while I was there.
yeah,
I wouldn't say golf is the thing that they're interested in.
yeah,
That's why I think it's very geared up. There's an awful lot of golf courses very geared up to your expat communities and your people, your nationalities that are into golf, and they're playing it really well. What I will tell you about golf courses as well is in the UAE, obviously pork being something that they don't have, they don't touch. Um, so you can usually get a bacon sandwich or a bacon roll
Oh,
at the golf course as well. So they've paid for those
wow.
extra licensing fees, whatever they may be, which no doubt they'll be very high. So yeah, you
Yeah,
can you can have a 9 a.m. pint and bacon roll if you want
that's
at some of
unbelievable,
the
isn't it?
golf
That
courses. Yeah, which I found
really,
absolutely incredible because
yeah,
sometimes you've got to hunt far and wide in the UAE to find some bacon if you're really looking for it. But
yeah.
if you really want it,
Turns out
but
you just
yeah,
need to be into golf, then you're in.
it. That's it. Just before I left, though, they started to do their renovations on the courses, and then when I went in a couple of times, they were like, "No, we haven't got bacon on the menu anymore." So I don't know if they're starting to
Right.
turn that trend now, and
Okay.
it's it's a it's a
Oh
country
man. Right.
decision, but
Here you go, and then
yeah,
oh no, we're taking it away now.
I know we've got you here. We've got enough expats living here now. We're
That's
doing
it.
all
Now we
right.
don't need to bribe you anyway, in
Yeah,
any way, shape, or
but the
form. So,
price of golf out there, because they know people are going to play it, you do pay quite a bit of money. So
yeah.
right now, you wouldn't it wouldn't be a shock to pay 1,000 to 1,200 dirhams for a round, which we're talking about 4.5 exchange rate dirhams to the pound.
Oh right.
So
Okay.
yeah, quite
Crikey.
tasty.
Yeah.
Um, Hefty prices.
God,
And if
that's
you're
up there.
turning up as a tourist, if you're going to go over there for a little holiday and you think, while I'm here, I might hire some clubs and go for a round, you could be shelling out £300 for a round of golf because you'd have to hire the clubs for
Yeah.
about 300 dirhams. You'd have to buy a set of balls for 3 balls from the golf club. You're talking about 120 dirhams, £25
Wow.
for
For
3 golf
for
balls.
three golf
Yeah,
balls.
it's crazy, mate.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
the prices are crazy.
Wow. Yeah, the rate
But
losing, mate.
very rarely are the courses not packed. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of societies out there.
What's the quality of the golf courses like? So some of the stuff I've
Incredible.
seen is just unbelievable.
Yeah, incredible. So I think when I look at the quality of the courses, how well they're maintained all year round. There are periods obviously where they've got to do maintenance. You have quite a brutal summer. So those brutal summers can obviously dry the ground out. They must get through an awful lot of water. And I'm also aware that some of the golf courses, they've actually flown the sand in from other countries, even though we're in the middle of the desert,
Right. Okay.
because they wanted the top quality sand at their golf courses. So, I'm sure people that have lived there longer than me can tell you some things that would probably raise your eyebrows a little bit more than that. But yeah, I mean, that for me was quite fascinating that you're living in a desert and you fly sand in to fill your bunkers. It's quite
Yeah.
incredible. But
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think you're sort of seeing it. I mean, this is now moving away from golf a little bit, but you are seeing the whole kind of like, there's a lot of investment gone into getting the F1 to the Middle East. You've got obviously we had the Football World Cup in Qatar. Um, it's kind of like, oh, let's well, it's badged anyway as let's grow the game in this area. But I mean, is it doing that? Is it that kind of thing, kind of impact? I mean, it may not be something you necessarily have experience of, but is it doing that, or is it just actually look, we've got the money to spend and we're just going to make top class facilities and people in
It's
the world
like I
can
said,
play?
I think they're just aware that it's a sport that dominates English, European, American culture. It's something that an awful high percentage of people from the countries of people that actually move there to live actually play, and I think it just plays into their hands to keep everybody happy. What their intentions are, especially Dubai, is to keep growing. I think what they sitting around 3 million people now in Dubai, and I think the
Right,
intention is by the end of 2030 to have like 10 million people, and the infrastructure's loaded already. So yeah, it's they're growing deliberately, um, buying houses out there, all that sort of stuff. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, the prices of things are just eye watering. But it's not slowing down. It never slowed down for the entire time I was there. My wife's brother lives there. My brother-in-law has been there 16, 17 years, and he's watched it grow, from this little kind of area, Dubai, to what it is now, which is just absolutely massive. And now it seems that areas like Abu Dhabi are on the same path, the same trajectory, where they're becoming more popular. People are moving out there, getting jobs, buying property, and it looks like Abu Dhabi's starting to kind of move in the same direction.
right. And I think
Uh,
um, I think in Abu Dhabi, I think there's a course. They do the Hero Challenge there or something like that, or Hero
yeah,
or something
yeah,
like
it's fantastic. I mean, Abu Dhabi Yas Links is
that. That's
my
linked, yeah.
favourite course.
Right.
I absolutely love it. It reminds me a little bit of back home, but the quality of the course is just phenomenal. Um, have you played a links course?
Yeah, we played a couple. Unfortunately, played a couple now. It's a tough challenger you got.
Yeah, so if you miss the fairway, you're normally in a spot of trouble, right? It's quite tough to play a links course from the rough. First of all, you're lucky if you find your ball, and then you're lucky if you don't break your club trying to hack it out of the rough because it's quite challenging. And that's exactly what Yas Links reminds me of. If you miss the fairway, you're going to land in the rough. You're going to be in quite a lot of trouble. Whereas
And I think
generally
they
the
put in
courses
quite a
in
lot of
Dubai,
like, undulations and
yeah, there's a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
rolling
it's beautiful,
fairways.
absolutely stunning course. I think, like, kind of going back to the question you asked me earlier, what's the quality of the courses? I didn't plan a bad course the whole time I was there. You
Wow.
know,
Yeah.
I would rate every single course really high. If I was rating every course out of 10, every course would be between 7 and 9, I would say, for quality.
Wowzer. Right. Okay.
I love them all. I mean, my favourite course to play, I enjoyed the Trump and the Els. The Trump I thought was fantastic. The setup, the way it's run. You just drive up to the front entrance. They valet your car for you. They take your clubs. You just kind of go in, get yourself kind of prepped, pop your stuff in the locker, come out, your bag's on a buggy, and off you go. It's
Yeah.
fantastic setup, and the course is brilliant. And then the Owls Club, the Owls course, we played that during Open Week.
Right.
So I played for a golf society called the British Dads Golf Society. Met some fantastic guys playing for that society, and we went to the Els Club during Open Week, and they'd actually cut the greens down to resemble the speed of the greens during Open Week.
Amazing.
And I've never ever in my life played on greens where you just do like a couple of inches backswing and hit the ball, and it will roll 20 feet. It was just
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
unbelievable. But
Yeah.
I that's probably the day I enjoyed the most playing there was under such challenging conditions, and made you realize playing on conditions like that just how good these guys are at top level. When you get to finally play on a course and you realize this isn't even the standard they play at, it's slightly below it, but it's miles above where I would normally play. And it was just incredible. I mean, talk about trying to hold a green. I might as well have tried to walk the ball up and just drop it on there. Would have been my best bet. There was no chance, but yeah,
It's
loved it.
magical though, isn't it? And I think that is a part of the game. I think you could just never experience, but that is a part of the game for me that's really appealing, and I don't think is replicated in any other sport where you can play exactly the same track that the professional is playing.
Yeah,
You can play exactly the same thing. If you start playing off the championship tees, you're experiencing the whole thing exactly as they did. There's no difference apart
yeah,
from the pressure and whatever. But um, what other sport can you do that in? You can't do that in tennis. You're never getting, if you like tennis, you're never getting on centre court in Wimbledon unless you can be amazing. And even then, you could be amazing at tennis and never actually get to that. How many British players probably have never, made it onto the centre court? You're never going to get onto unless it's like some kind of charity thing or whatever. You're not going to get at Old Trafford or Wembley or whatever. It's just not a thing. Whereas you can go around these golf clubs and you can be like, actually, this is a spot that somebody else has had exactly this shot from that I've seen on telly.
yeah, yeah. To be honest, mate, I think that the closest thing I've ever seen is playing football. If your team goes on a great run through the cup, and it's like when I was in Peterborough, they used to hold the local finals at London Road. But as a kid growing up, like, your eyes would light up thinking, oh, I'd absolutely love to play here. You get to go and watch the pros play football there. And then to realize as you hit your teenage years or your 20s and you're playing in a cup and you get to the final, that's where you're going to play your final. I mean, I agree with you. That's kind of as close as I've ever come to feeling like I'm walking the same grass as these absolute robots, because that's what it seems like now. Like I said, now I've experienced some of the courses that they've played on and the conditions that they would play under. You just realize they are on a whole different planet when it
Yeah,
comes to how good
they're
they
playing
are.
a totally different game to what you and I
Yeah,
are playing, aren't they?
but it's fantastic to know that, yeah, I've played it. I also followed them around, especially in the January one, Jumeirah Golf Estates at the fire course. I followed Rory round for a bit, but he had about 3,000 people just following him. So you kind of still looking from miles back. And then I got to watch a bit of Tommy Fleetwood and a couple of the other pros where the crowd doesn't, not so many people follow them around. So there was a couple of times when, I'm almost kind of touching distance away from them on the tee box before they go and play their shot. And to get to stand that close, watch the way they take their shot, look effortless, and the sound and the impact is just ridiculous. Just
it's
you cannot explain it to someone that hasn't experienced
no,
it.
you know what? You're absolutely spot on. It's difficult to actually describe that feeling. I've been fortunate. I've been to a couple of Ryder Cups and same thing. The first time, and that was the first one I went to was Celtic Manor. So that was the first golf tournament I've ever been to, and it was so it's amazing atmosphere. You're partisan because you're cheering for Europe, and then yeah, you're like, hang on a minute, like those American like Phil Mickelson's just stood right next to me trying to play a flop out of this. Like, well, what's going on here? Um, and I think that's the kind of yeah, you're right. Until you're there, they're just these superhuman people, aren't they? That you just see this highlight reel of
That's
the
it.
stuff that they're playing, and then
Yeah.
stood next to you, and you're like, he's not even that big. Like he looks massive on TV, but he's my height. Like there's no difference. I could do that.
Except for you can hit the ball an extra 100
Yeah,
yards
that's
off the
it. Yeah,
tee.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could definitely do that. If I had Phil's training, I could definitely do. Actually, maybe I'm just left-handed. I've just never realised I've been playing the wrong way around the whole
Who
time.
knows? I've got a couple of friends that have changed hands, and I'm like, how is that even possible? How do
Oh,
you
is that
just
possible? I
switch
can't
hands?
do that. That coordination doesn't work for me.
No, I mean, I got a couple of friends that are left-handers, and they play right-handed because that was the way the clubs were set up when they were kids. So they swung it that way, and they've always done it that way. So left-handed, left-footed, everything's left dominant, but they play golf right-handed. I'm like, that
How does
baffles
that
me.
even? Yeah,
Baffles me.
too much talent sickens me. That. Uh, yeah, and well, the other one that's I think comparable to that is the first time you go and see something like Formula One, and like the noise hits you, and that's
Yeah,
different now because they don't have that. But I went. McLaren did a big exhibition thing in Manchester once, and it was down Deansgate, big high buildings everywhere, and the first time you hear that car just rip past you, and it just your whole body shakes, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh my god, I'm addicted to this. This is amazing. And then they got
yeah.
rid of those
Agreed.
engines, so it's great.
That's it.
But you're hooked by then, aren't you?
That's it. Well, I experienced it for the first time while I was living there as well. I went across to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and it was just fantastic. I mean, getting to see the actual speed they move at. The cameras don't do things justice, do they? You kind of get so comfortable and used to the way things happen. You're like, oh, great. You know they're going fast, but until you actually see it, you're like, okay,
it
this is
it was the same thing again when we went to watch the when we did watch the Ryder Cup, we were sitting in a grandstand, and you're at this green that they're playing these approach shots to, and you're like, he's hitting it. He's a mile away. He's going for the green here, isn't he? Like, I would not be going for the green there at all. You're like, no, he is. He's going for the green, and you just see this ball fly, and it's just everybody's hitting the same flight, and it's just repeating, and then like it lands and it just sticks, and you're like, how has he just hit that club that far, and it's just landed softly and just plonk straight on the green? Like you're right. The TV will never ever do that justice. You need to get them watch
Yeah.
it live, don't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And do you know something great? I mean, I've never really been into it until about 3, 4 years ago, and I started watching a few things on YouTube, and I realized what a fantastic tool YouTube is to see things I wouldn't normally have seen. Social media in general is great for seeing things that you might want to watch or you have missed just recently. But YouTube, I've really enjoyed looking back over things, and I kind of went through some of the Tiger Woods shows where he did like little tutorials and how he ball shapes, and he was even talking about even with like a pitching wedge, and he was showing you that even with a pitching wedge, he has a swing thought of in to out for a draw for like a 20-foot pitch, a chip, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what's he talking
What's he
about?
talking about?
Drawing a chip.
I just want to get it on the green. That's all I
Yeah,
want to
so
do.
he's talking about drawing a chip so that it can run with the grain of the green and
It's
turn into the hole
unbelievable.
exactly how he wants it. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
please don't blade this through the back and hit someone in the shin. You know?
There was a great video. I don't know, you probably will have seen it in your travels on YouTube and social media, but I think it was Phil Mickelson did it was 30 seconds of describing how he um dis sets his distances for how far he thinks the ball's going to go. So he's like, if it's morning, then it's you take a couple of yards off, but then if it's then he's like naming types of grass, and he's like, but if you're with rain or you're settled into, and he's like, that's another 2 yards off. So I know that's going to be not 58, it's going to be 56. Like, what? Just
Mate,
imagine being
have
that
seen it,
dialed
mate.
in.
Honestly, the amount of information that came out of him during that segment, I was just like, I am blown away because there was so much information there. Cannot take all of that in. That was just ridiculous. And that's
Yeah,
all going through his head in milliseconds every
that's it.
time he steps up to a ball.
The power of the human brain, I
Yeah.
suppose.
But mind you, I guess if that's something that you did 24/7,
Yeah,
that was your
it's
life.
automatic,
You
isn't
pick
it?
it up and you kind of enhance it as much as you're capable of doing. So
He's probably chucked in a few little variables just to make it sound better as well. Phil's like he's a bit of a self promoter, isn't he? So,
that's it.
um, now I know you have, but you play night golf.
Yes.
What is that like? Because that just looks epic.
It's great. It's brilliant. Like you can't do it in the UK unless you're going to go to Top Golf. Um, you can do it all year round as well. That's what I love about it. So the hard times in the UAE are the summer period. So we're talking like May all the way through to September, October time. We're hitting highs of mid 50 degrees there, and it's just brutal during the day. It's still stupidly hot in the evenings, but the great thing is, even in the worst temperatures over there for the evenings, you can still get out and play some night golf. So, one immediate perk is 24/7
Yeah,
golf every
play
day of
whenever
the
you want.
year. It's
Yeah,
fantastic. But yeah, it kind of makes the courses all look different as well.
right.
So a prime example is while I was living in Abu Dhabi. Sorry, my dog's just decided to let
It's
himself.
it's it's quite all right. This
While
is
I was living
quite
in
a
Abu
famous
Dhabi,
famous COVID clip, wasn't it? When his kid walked in, it was a newsreader's kid walked in.
well, this is my office when I'm the consultant usually, and I was on a meeting once, and he opened the door, came in, and just jumped up and stood over my shoulder, and I'm on a meeting with people from the government, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh
I hope you all like
hi,
dogs. Yeah,
it's my dog.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I was living in Abu Dhabi for a couple of months, and I joined a society while I was over there called Eggs, and they did a 9-hole evening course, and I played it about 6 or 7 times. It was every couple of weeks, and I realised I'd never seen that course during the day. So when Enz came over to stay, which we were talking about earlier, um, he came out to see me in Abu Dhabi. I booked that course and we went and played it. And he's asking me questions because I'd said, I've played it 7 or 8 times. And I've no idea, mate. I could not tell you anything about this course because it looks completely different. So, it's one thing I will say fantastic. Playing in the evening, things look incredible. The focus is all on the fairway and it sort of almost zones you in. I think it really does kind of reduce everything in your peripheral when you're playing night golf as well, because everything's so dark outside of where you're hitting the ball. The lights are all so focused down that it's lit up like like a runway, and it's just fantastic. It looks stunning. But yeah, it can make it feel like a completely different course. So that's a bonus if you ask me. Playing the
Oh
same course
yeah,
twice and it feels like you've played two different courses.
absolutely. Yeah, I think there's something I saw. We're going up to play Trump International sometimes towards the tail end of the year. They do up in Aberdeen. They do 5 holes of night golf. So I think they're selling a couple of packages at the end of January, as it happens.
Okay.
So you get like a neon ball, and they've got like these light sticks, and the greens are lit up and the fairways are lit up, but everything else is. Which again, I suppose you get to a links course like that, and they're pretty brutal. If you can't see the rough, then it's there, so it's all fine. So it's just gone into the
It might
abyss.
fix
I've realised.
might fix any slice issues you've got.
Yeah, yeah, so if you can just see, that's it. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. Right,
Yeah.
you can get everything out, cancel all the noise, but yeah, I'd love to do that. It looks like an amazing experience.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I lost my fair share of golf balls like I do on any round, but it didn't make me invincible. But I do genuinely think it helps you kind of focus in on where your target lines are.
Yeah, I suppose so. Um, what do you think your most memorable experience has been of playing golf in the Middle East?
I mean, the first time I played out there, I played the Earth course at Jumeirah Golf Estates. Went along with my brother-in-law. He did it as a bit of a kind of surprise welcome to Dubai kind of thing. Lasted 7 holes before he got bored and drove off and started drinking on his own at the bar.
You can,
Left me to it. But yeah, I ended up going round on that course with a Swedish chap, and he was telling me about the properties he owned around the golf course, and he's a full-time member. And the realization of how much it would cost you to be a member of a course like this is ridiculous money we're talking. And here I am in the middle of it, having a round of golf with a bloke I don't know, and I'm happy as Larry. You know, can't can't knock that sort of thing. It's fantastic. But I think once I joined a few societies and started really making some friends and kind of playing a lot more golf, that's when I really enjoyed it. And one of the most enjoyable times I had was my last round of golf in Dubai. Well, it was in Al Hamra. So with the British Dads Golf Society, we did a kind of Ryder Cup style, 2 teams paired up with someone on the first day, individuals on the second day. It was just absolutely fantastic. But to play on these pristine golf courses and having a beer, having a laugh, and
replicate
yeah,
the
we
Ryder
were
Cup. I mean, you
taking
can't
it
ask for anything more than
serious.
that. Yeah,
No, the captain certainly didn't want to lose, so they were trying to put their best teams out, and
that's amazing.
it's fantastic. And the handicap system helps everybody in the society. All has to log their scores through the same tool. So once you've kind of committed, you tell them what your handicap is. You have to send a screenshot as proof of what your handicap is, and it really does help kind of make it a even playing field. And then it's just fantastic fun. A couple of days, a couple of nights. The evenings are great fun as well. And then
Such a social sport, isn't it?
that's
Such
it.
a
It's
social
just
sport.
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, great. We sort of very seriously got back into it post COVID because it was one of the first things you could do, go out and have a round of golf, and I just found it was amazing for my mental health. You're out in the fresh air with a pal, 2 pals, 3 pals. At that time, you hadn't seen anybody for ages as well. You hadn't gone and done anything with anybody, and it was like, this is amazing. And kind of keeping up, then making a promise to keep up and try and play every week was it was like, actually, this doesn't feel like hard work now. This feels like the thing I need to do. Um, yeah, great. I think it's a just keeps on giving. I think.
Yeah, absolutely agree. To be honest, mate, before COVID, I didn't play an awful lot. I played a lot more than when I was younger. Probably talking about 5, 6 times a year I'd upgraded to, but that was about as much as it got. And then we had lockdown, and then my wife said, as football's a no-go zone now, you're too old. Why don't you play golf? So she encouraged me to get a membership at a course called the Isle of Wedmore down here in Somerset. Beautiful course. I said, go for it. So got the membership and then started competing in a few competitions. And that took my golf game to kind of the next level, if you like. I went from pottering around shooting 110, 120 not really knowing what I was doing, to playing more regularly and started to rapidly get better. Got my game down to around the 100 mark, and then started to get some lessons, and that's
Yeah,
how my golf grew.
brilliant.
Went from there. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, and then it just
Did
started
you enjoy it
slowly
enough
coming
to
down.
try and convince Sophie to play golf, or is that not a thing?
That's a sore one, mate. That is so. I've always thought to myself, I could play a bit more golf if she was interested
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
sport. She's never been interested.
Right.
So I thought I'm going to go for it. So for her birthday about 3 years ago,
Yeah.
um, I made the mistake of buying and wrapping a new golf bag, clubs, glove, the whole kit and caboodle. And as she's opening
That's
it,
not a mean task, by the way. It's a bloody hard thing to wrap up a set of golf clubs,
yeah,
isn't
well,
it?
so it's all there. She's got it, and I think she's got an idea that she knows what she's got for her birthday. As she's opening it, she went, "Oh, good, a golf bag. Oh, good, golf clubs." And she's sort of looking at me as if to say, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to be great. We can go out, play golf together. It'll be brilliant." Blah blah blah. We did go out and play a couple of rounds. I even bought her some lessons as well, which I think she went for one. But we went and played a round together, and she's not terrible. She's got a bit of a hockey swing, so she can hit the ball. But she's never really played it before, so she's literally gone out there a couple of swings, and she's already on a golf course with me. She's landed in the bunker, and it's about like a 30-foot wide bunker, and her ball's over in the left side, and she's just walked into the right side and just straight through the bunker all the way to her ball, hack, 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 and then walked all the way back. And I was like, why have you
Man,
just done that?
gotta
Like, why
rake it
wouldn't
all
you
now.
walk round to the left? We've now got to rake the whole bunker. And she
Yeah.
just goes to me, do you know what? You're such a fun sponge. This is the last time I'm playing golf with you. I was just like, that's it then. Game over.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just golfing etiquette. There's nothing I can do about it.
She was like, I don't care. It's
I love
boring.
that. It's like at that moment in time, you don't, with the greatest amount of respect to your other half, you don't give a damn about them. You're worried about the people who are behind you, thinking negatively of you not having raked your bunker.
That
That's
was
what
it,
you're
mate. That was
thinking.
it. And also on the basis that it was just me and her playing, and the group behind had already caught up, because obviously she's brand new at the game, so she's taking multiple shots just to get 5-10 yards down the course. Every now and again, she's striking one really well. So it was going well, and I'm so conscious of how close the people behind us were all the way round. And then obviously that incident with the bunker, and I think she was just like, "This isn't for me.
I'm not,
I don't want to follow these
I'm not
rules.
doing this. Yeah,
I'm not a rule follower."
yeah, I'm a rule maker. There's no way I'm following
That's right.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I think there's very few pressures in life like the pressure of a group behind you that you know you're holding up, and you're like, is that? Do I make the decision now? Do I let them play through? Or can I recover it? Can I speed it up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. We had some really awkward incidents in Abu Dhabi, actually, because we're all on an application. I can't remember what it's called, but you can see basically everyone's scores, what hole they're on, and we're all in a big WhatsApp group. And we could see that some of us were on like hole 13, and some people were still way back on like hole 9, and we'd done a shotgun start. So we couldn't quite figure out what was going on. Then this WhatsApp group just blew up. People going, "What the hell's going on?" Like, we've now got 4 groups in front of us waiting to tee off, and that's what it can take. It's just one group of a couple of 2 or 3 slow players, and the knock on effect it can have.
oh yeah, I know it's yeah,
Not great, not
it's
great.
a nightmare, isn't it? That really is a nightmare. Yeah, I did actually know about that story. I'm afraid, Lee, because I did tap Sophie up for. I did lead you into that, um, knowing full well that that's what the story was.
You're trying to get dirt on me, Nish.
Oh
I
mate, I
can't
was just
believe
like, have you
this.
got anything? Like, come on, give me something. And she went, yeah, yeah, yeah. There is this time when I got golf clubs as a birthday present. So yeah,
Honestly, if you could see the look of disgust on her face
I
as
can
she's
imagine,
opening them,
mate.
she was just like, "I
Just
can't
that
believe you've done this."
my yeah, my other half is she doesn't hide how she feels very well. So if she's not happy, you know about it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
certainly did. At least she tried, though. She did come out with me.
Oh, I mean,
Give her
yeah,
that.
fair play, fair play. I've managed to convince Emma to because obviously with 2 boys, what 7-3 and they absolutely golf mad already. There's no way that we're going to have weekends where we're not just off for the whole weekend playing golf. So he's like, I can't miss out on that. I need to play. I was like, yeah, great, wonderful. That's the four
Exactly.
balls
I
I
am,
wanted.
mate. Exactly. I'm reaching round right now to see if anyone's doing like a youth academy where I can take my 5-year-old because he's soon to be
Absolutely,
6, and I'd love for him
absolutely.
to get involved in golf.
And
Absolutely
you
love
kind of, it's funny. I'm a little bit the same. So Adam's turning 3 in February. Um, I will say already he has a better golf swing than I do. It's he's got the grip sorted, he's got the balance through, he's got the power that he puts through, he holds his pose at the end, all this kind of stuff. I'm going to our local professional. I'm like, can I get him some lessons, something? And he's like, oh no, we don't. I don't start till they're like 7 or 8. I'm like, why? Everybody that you hear about who's amazing at this game, they start at that age, and it's just a love that sticks with them
Yeah,
for
I
all of
wouldn't
their
be
needs.
surprised they kind of have uh, like the support at home that they need, people that actually know what they're doing, showing their kids how to play.
Probably,
Because
yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm coaching a young football team at the moment, under sixes, and I can't imagine any of them having the attention span to listen to someone tell them where to
Yeah,
stand to
fair
swing a
point.
golf club. I just could
We,
not
we had
imagine it.
we took so the older one Aaron so he's 7. We the not my golf club but another one they set up like some taster sessions or something like that. So like right, get him doing everything, and he's great. He's like a real like, am I doing it right? Kind of worries about it. The little one, he's just like, I want to grip it and rip it. Like just let me at the ball. So we'd gone to go and pick him up after the session, and Adam was like, you could just see he was like a caged animal. He was like, let me at the clubs, let me at the clubs, come on. So I was like,
Get the driver
the
out.
guy was called Dave. I was like, Dave, I know he's a bit young, but is there any chance you can just hit one golf ball, please? Is that all right? Like just with you doing it, I think you'll make him feel part of the class. So I went, okay, yeah, yeah, fine. So he went, well, has he done this before? I went, well, kind of not really, but he's got a plastic set and whatever. So I went, all right, okay, well, I'll give him this one. So he's like trying to like hold his head in the right place and all this kind of stuff. And I said, Dave, just put the ball down and just let him hit it. And he absolutely cracked this hybrid. And this Dave guy's just turned around to me and he's gone, oh, forget him, mate. He's the one. He's the one. I was like, yeah, all right. Can you do some lessons or anything? He was like, no, just get him just hitting the ball as hard as he can. Like I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, fine. But honestly, I couldn't believe it. Like he stepped up. It was basically the way I described the way he hit it was, when you play a tee shot and you've just driven it way out of bounds, and you go, oh, God, provisional ball in the tee, ball on the tee, and you just swing and hit it, and you crack it straight down the middle. He did exactly that first time round, and I was like,
Beautiful.
just carry on doing that, son. Don't do anything different. That's it. And it's just like he was like, come on again, right? I want to hit another one, right? Come on again, I want to hit another one. It was great. Like it's really nice to see that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Um, but yeah, can't convince our professional to do any lessons for him at the minute. But there you go. So Lee, have you played? Now I don't know if you've seen our list, but people generally have an idea of where the courses are in there. But have you played any of the top 100 or close to? If you haven't, are there any that you'd really like to play?
I haven't, and there's one on my doorstep, which is Burnham and Barrow. So that's in the top 100. It's in like the top 30, I think, in the UK. I've played, so that's the championship course. So I've played the general course next to it, and that's tough, really hard. But when you play that course, you walk past some of the holes on the championship course, and you just stand there and admire it, mate. Honestly, beautiful. It just looks fantastic. The undulation, the way the greens are designed, the challenge of that course looks phenomenal, and I would love to give that a go. And I'd love to give the Belf. I'd love to have a play at the Belfry, and then the old Sunningdale course as
Sunningdale.
well. So
Yeah.
Ascot, yeah, that would be brilliant. I'd love to
Well,
give
Sunningdale's an
those a go.
interesting one. They do like pairs events. So we're playing a pairs event in June or July, I think, up at Ganton. Because there's really only in Yorkshire you've got Ganton, which is near Scarborough. You've got Alwoodley and Moortown, which are near Leeds, and that's really it for Yorkshire for courses, which I was really surprised about, if I'm honest, because that coast is pretty rugged, and you think you to get a really good golf course on there, but clearly not. Um, but they do these pairs events, and they do Sunningdale quite a lot as a double, old and new. So yeah, I mean, I imagine Sunningdale, that's the way we're going to end up playing it because it makes it a reasonable to play. So and B, there'll be other people who are going to be like us. They're just turn up and like, can't fucking believe I'm playing Sunningdale, that kind of thing. So you're not too out of place then. But yeah, we'll let you know when we're playing there, mate. That'd be
Be
great
awesome.
great to do.
Yeah,
I know obviously you yourself have been documenting your own golfing journey because you're on a bit of a quest to kind of get your handicap down. So
that's it.
how did the idea come about, and how are you getting on?
So the idea, so like I said, I've watched a few YouTube kind of golf society golf pages, foreplay golf and different Bob does sport. So I started watching them, and then they started coming up on my Instagram. So, and I just thought, "Oh, that's really interesting, even though I'm absolutely crap at golf, and it's something I want to get better at. And it's like getting to watch. There's a chap on foreplay called Trent, and he started well in the hundreds, like shooting 120 regularly, and he's got a big old slice. And I'm watching this guy, and I'm captivated by watching this guy slice a ball, going, "That's me. I'm really good at that. I can do that." And I can just see as well that the fact that they record it, document it. They've turned theirs into proper videos. They've got a proper crew following them around and stuff. But I thought, I can see this guy getting progressively better, and clearly the drive to do that is he knows people are watching him. There's an accountability there, and it kind of made me want to give it a try. So I set up Hard7 Golf on Instagram,
And that's
and
your
yeah,
handle, is it? That's your yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
that's the handle, Harb7 Golf. And yeah, fair while back now. I've not put a massive amount of content on it just recently. I've obviously been transitioning back from Dubai to the UK. The whole job hunt's ongoing and bits like that. But you know, we'll play as much golf as possible. I've got a round of golf this Sunday actually with my friend Michael, so we're going to be going having a round Sunday, and I'll get a few clips on. The last time I played with him and we played at the course we're going to, he actually hit it into somebody's house twice, or in their back garden, and there was a caravan there. And the second time he managed
Twice.
to hit the caravan, which was really impressive. It's actually on my page. It's quite entertaining,
How
to
do you
be
do
fair.
that twice? Yeah.
Yeah, two big pulls as well, quite bad. He was like, he even said in the clip, I think I need to get some lessons. I was like, yeah, I think so too. But yeah, so started documenting it, mate. Set that page up, and then it really spurred me on to get the lessons and start training. And I started to put a bit of my lesson clips on there, and started to show some of the swing detail and what I was working on with the coach Liam from the Isle of Wedmore. And I also had another coach called Lee Caulfield, who was at Burnham and Barrow, which is where one of the top 100 courses is. And I just learned so much from both of those guys, and took my game from 115, 120, and my lowest score to date is 82, but
Nice.
consistently in the 90s at the moment. I'd love to
Excellent.
get it lower,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Excellent. That's
it's
great
been
progress, mate. Great
yeah,
progress.
yeah. The progress has been great, and I've documented it, not massive detail and not with any order or anything that someone might look at and think, well, that makes sense. It's just whenever I feel like it, I put something on there and share my joys and woes with everybody else.
Well, I mean, that's part of it, I think, isn't it? Everyone's you're not alone in that. Everyone's been through that whole journey themselves, and I think that that authenticity of just like, look, I'm not played for a couple of years, so whatever. But now I'm getting back into it. Right, let's get back on it. And everyone's the same. Life gets in the way, and you're not. Um, I think you can spot, and I've realised this now from following accounts, from having my own podcast. I've realised you can spot the people that are doing it you know, for likes, for shares, from the people who are sort of. And I'm not saying I'm not denigrating that at all. I think that's great content. It really is. But you can spot that from then the authentic person. They're the people that you probably get more of a connection with. Where you go,
Yeah,
and certainly through that first bit of the journey, because I don't begrudge anybody getting to that point where they go, actually, I could turn this into something great. Go for it. But that early part is the bit that gets you hooked, doesn't it? And you go,
yeah, absolutely.
I see where these people are, and I see myself in that.
I agree, mate. I agree. And honestly, I think if I could turn my page into something where I could make a living off it, I absolutely would
Yeah,
do
of
that
course you would.
because it
Yeah,
would mean I'd play golf every day, and that would be like the dream for me. I absolutely love playing golf. But yeah, I do it like I said. I think for the accountability to keep me wanting to play because I've been through a few phases where I've gone, I'm not getting any better. This sucks, but I think we
yeah.
mentioned it earlier. It just takes one good shot and you're hooked. You're back in
Well,
it.
that's it. That's within the round, isn't it, mate? You go in
That's
all
it.
hope, and then you start playing. You go, "Oh my god, what am I doing here? Quit! I'm never playing this game again."
Yeah,
And yeah, you get to the 18th, and you're like, you par the 18th, and you hit like the perfect drive, perfect approach, two putt it, and you go, "Oh, right, same time next week." It's just
exactly. Before you've even made it off the 18th green, you've already booked the next one in. Yeah, absolutely. It does. It keeps you coming back, and it's brilliant. But now the reality for me is obviously being back in England that there's a limited window to playing golf at the moment. So it's kind of checking the weather app and praying that it is
yeah.
what it says it is on the day.
Find yourself a course that stays open through the winter. I think is the key, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I was talking to the guys in America to the Basic Bogies podcast. So they're up near Syracuse, so that's kind of upstate New York, quite near like the lakes and things like that. And so when was I on? I think I was on towards the tail end of November with them, early December, and they said we're probably going to be able to get around in this weekend, but then after that till April we can't get back on the golf course because it's like snow and blizzards and the course gets wrecked and then it gets repaired. So imagine having a membership and 5 months of the year you're just never going to be able to play, and there's not a chance of playing. Is that the course is just
Yeah.
the other option you've got is you start playing. So I said, well, I'm playing sim golf this weekend, so you can do that. I went, oh yeah, there's a new place just opened up just up the road. I was like, oh yeah, great. And they're like, yeah, it's just a 3 hour drive. It's like, no,
Yeah,
thank
all
you.
right. Makes me feel
Hours
like I've got
away.
to stop complaining about the weather and the fact there's a
Mate,
driving range just 20 minutes drive
I
from my door.
totally got a new renewed appreciation for winter golf here. I've never minded wrapping up warm, getting the gloves on and hand warmers and all that kind of thing. Never minded any of that. I've paid my dues. I've kind of played in hailstorms and all sorts because I didn't want to lose my tenner and the green fees. Um, but the fact that you can still play, then like you go, oh, okay, right, yeah. What am I complaining about? This is, the fact if you just had it taken away from you for 5 months and you just couldn't do anything, then that'd kill you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those as well where I think I'd get so used to not playing, I probably wouldn't even start again, until something happened. Like one of my mates goes, I've booked us around a golf, you come in. Yes. A weird situation. I definitely wouldn't enjoy that.
No, no, me neither. Me neither. Well, Harbs, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've certainly made a little note here that I want to get out and play golf in Dubai now because it sounds absolutely amazing. So yeah, maybe we can build that into the top 110 somehow.
Yes, mate. Yeah, I mean, give me a shout. I mean, I'd be more than happy to come out and play around a round or two in Dubai with you. I mean, I know the place quite well now, and yeah, know the courses
Well, maybe we'll
just as
get
well. But
Mr. Enright to shout us for a landmark birthday or something. That'd be a good way to do it.
why
But
not?
actually,
Why
now we
not?
put it out there. This is out in the public domain now. You know,
That's it.
I
Boy,
think
there's no going back. And also, I didn't mention this. You mentioned this, so my wife can't really say anything
that's
about it,
it.
can
What
she?
what 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 kind of man isn't going to take his mates out to Dubai for a round of golf? I mean, what a guy he is! What a guy! Well done, Lee. Thanks. Well, look, we're going to stay in touch. We'd love to get you back on, and certainly when we're heading down your way, we will give you a shout, mate, for
Yeah.
coming and having a round of golf with us, and we'll get onto your Instagram feed.
That's it. Yeah. Well, do you know what, mate? I've always wanted to play the Burnham and Barrow Championship course. So when you come down for that one, I'd love to join you, and then I'll try and get some juicy content on
Absolutely,
that one and get it on my
that'll
page.
be a good one. We'll like go. Can you get us on the last tee time, please, of the day? Because we don't want to hold anybody up behind. Just gonna be gorging on like putting filming everything, and I just play that one
That's
again,
it.
mate. Yeah. Just do that again. I love it.
I've got
Absolutely love it.
1,500 followers. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you. I really, really enjoy that chat. Thanks,
No
mate.
worries, mate.
until the next time on the Top 110 Golf Podcast.